Historical facts about the brutality enslaved black Africans faced have surfaced. People have learned how enslaved black men were dehumanized and treated less than humans. They were chained and forced to work in plantations, and their arms and legs were cut when they did not. For enslaved black women, the world was a manifestation of the worst dream, where they were sexually abused and treated as breeding machines. But one group often gets ignored: black children. In this video, we will explain what was done to black children and enslaved people during slavery and the slave trade. But before that, remember to subscribe and press the bell icon. Now, let's dive into the video. Slave children were seen as valuable assets by their masters in society, with their monetary value and future potential investments. While it might seem logical to protect and nurture these assets for economic reasons, the reality was quite different. The living standards of slave children were primarily determined by the benevolence of their masters' experiences. Some children claimed they worked continuously through their formative years. The entire slave community had to share responsibility for raising slave children. Typically, mothers were expected to return to work, and babies were cared for by the very young and the elderly. Slave child's treatment. It was reported that black slave children were fed like pigs. The food provided was not nutritious, but more like something to live. Due to having such malnourished food, they had the characteristic signs of shiny bodies, plump bellies, and glistening ribs. As a new generation of enslaved people, they also didn't have enough clothing to wear. So, it was customary to see naked children on plantations. At such a tender age, they were offered to work to get clothes that might save them little respect in that little body. As children took on fetal work, boys might receive trousers and a shirt, while girls were given dress shoes, tasks done by slave child. The tasks assigned to younger children did not appear to be gender-specific. These tasks included fetching water for the fields, tending to animals in the garden, kitchen, household chores, and caring for younger children. Some boys were even allowed to learn skills such as blacksmithing or carpentry from a very early age. The fear of being sold, or the mere threat of it, was a constant presence in the life of a child born into slavery. Eventually, several states enacted laws to prevent the sale of children under 10 away from their families. It was common for children to be sold alongside their mothers. The experiences of slave children cannot be painted with a broad brush. They vary greatly depending on several factors, including the period, location, and type of labor. For instance, enslaved people working on sugar and rice plantations faced more grueling physical labor than those on tobacco plantations. For slave children around the age of 10, they began to encounter the harsh realities of slavery. Slave children were thrust into labor from a tender age. Their roles evolved as they grew older. These young souls initially assisted their older counterparts, and with time, they became seasoned stand-ins for aging adults. The labor arrangement in childhood was short-lived in the world of slavery, and work began at a tender age. Living in Tulsa, Oklahoma, William Hudson mentioned carrying a little black bag when his owner went to doctoring folks. Whether purchased or raised within the household, small children were assigned duties designed to instill an understanding of the Southern social hierarchy and their subservient role within it. Punishment. There was a trail of belief that those born and raised in the master's household or long-standing family members regarded the owner as their father, a connection they thought would last a lifetime. But this cannot be believed, as a father will never force his children to work in plantations in the worst possible conditions. When black slave children did not perform their tasks, they were punished the same way as enslaved adults. The reason why the mortality rate was so high among black slave children was because they were abused when they could not perform their work. In the case of black slave girls, they were forced to bear children at the age of only 13. They were forced to mate with other black slave adults in the breeding farms so more children could be raised for more labor work. Such terrifying phrases ended a very long time ago, but still, some living ones bear the traumas. Even to this date, people are using some traits that carry that traumatic time, which needs to stop. That's all for today. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments below, and we will try to get back to you. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. That's all for today. See you next time.